Today is July 2nd. This isn't just a flip of the page on your wall planner. A deep energetic current has altered its course. Not in the world you watch on the news, but in the universe that exists within you. So many are desperately scanning the horizon for proof, for giant external markers, for seismic events or dramatic political shifts. But the signal you've been anticipating isn't a shout. It doesn't create a racket. It's a quiet hum, incredibly subtle, and it communicates only with those who have learned to be still and listen. On July 2nd, the frequency of our reality changed. Perhaps you've sensed it. A pressure in your chest you can't place, a bizarre new sharpness to your thoughts, or a sudden, profound moment of quiet clarity even as chaos swirled around you. You are not making this up. This is not some fluke. The cosmos, the planet, and your own awareness are intimately woven together, and right now, they are synchronized in an exceptionally specific way. For those who are paying attention, July 2nd just hits different. You might not have the words to describe it, but your nervous system registers it, your very breathing senses it, and your soul knows it. This isn't anxiety, this isn't euphoria, it's something far more fundamental, a recognition, a gentle tap on the window of your consciousness. Now let's get to the core of it. The sign has already manifested, but the vast majority will overlook it because we're all conditioned to search externally. But the revelation isn't an event that happens to you from the outside. The true revelation is the exact instant you become completely here and now. The instant you become fully awake to your own energetic signature. The instant you understand that your time is running short, not for the world, but for your own inner evolution. You have been offered a small window, a precious opportunity to awaken. July 2nd doesn't bang a drum to get your attention, but its power is undeniable. It's laser focused. If you manage to find just 5 minutes of silence today, you likely felt it. A tiny crack in the veneer of your routine. A flash of pure truth that slips between two anxious thoughts. This is the energetic upgrade, and it is more than enough to redirect the entire trajectory of your life. If you have the courage to stop and witness it, the world will not hit pause for you to have your awakening. Your duties, your routines, your emotional tides, they will all continue to compete for your focus. But today, July 2nd, a unique invitation is on the table. It is soft, it is patient, but it is unmistakable. You can continue to drown it out, or you can pause for a single moment and truly ask yourself, what am I actually doing with my precious time, my mental bandwidth, and my life force? We perpetually hold out for the ideal conditions to begin our real work, but this energetic wave didn't ask for your permission. The shift is already here. The only real question is, are you truly here for it, or are you lost in the static of everything else? Energetic waves don't need consensus. They are indifferent to opinions. They operate according to profound, unseen principles. And one of these principles is that nothing remains the same forever. This specific moment, this gift of clarity, this precise alignment, it is temporary. And if you fail to act on it now, it will slip through your fingers. So, what is your next move? Become still. Pay attention to your breath. Witness your mind without judgment. Take off the social mask. Sit with the silence. Not for an eternity. Just begin with one genuinely honest moment, because a single instant of truthfulness with yourself holds more power than decades of pretense. This July 2nd wave carries an energy that exposes what is authentic and what is an illusion. You may have perceived this already. People in your life are either displaying remarkable calm or descending into deeper chaos. Some seem firmly rooted. Others are profoundly agitated. Some are radiating peace while others are visibly unraveling. This divergence is the sign. It doesn't arrive with a blaring siren. It simply reflects the truth back at you, showing you who you've become and what you still must confront. Don't put this off for another special date. Don't look for another guide. The lesson is unfolding this very second in your own direct experience. If it passed you by earlier, there's still a small window of time left, but not a lot. The opening isn't a massive gateway. It's a narrow passage. You must navigate it with intention today. You don't have to overhaul your entire existence. You don't have to have all the answers. You only need to become aware. Aware of how you breathe, aware of the choices you make, aware of the current trajectory of your life. This awareness is the seed of every real transformation. The energy of July 2nd is not designed to frighten you. It is designed to rouse you, to call you back to what is truly essential. And what's essential isn't what you've learned, what you possess, or the image you project to the world. What is essential is your capacity to be the calm center of your own storm. To hold your ground when everything around you is shaking. To stay centered when your mind scatters in 1,000 directions. This is not abstract philosophy. This is practical application. This is your life. And today, July 2nd, is the training ground. If you listen with care, your intuition is already speaking. If you sit without agenda, your breath will be your guide back to presence. If you cultivate awareness, this energetic wave will lift you to a higher state of being. But if you keep rushing, keep avoiding, keep ignoring, then the signal has arrived and departed, and you won't realize what you've lost until it's far too late. And by then, this specific chance will be gone. So stop right now, just for a second, because today is July 2nd and something is fundamentally different. Something is beckoning not from out there, but from deep inside. How will you respond? Today is July 2nd, and while society runs on its usual hamster wheel, something more significant is unfolding. Not up in the heavens, but right here in your own core. We talk about this great revelation as if it's some blockbuster spectacle, a cosmic phenomenon that will suddenly beam people off the planet. But the reality is, the true revelation isn't about disappearing, it's about seeing. It is the moment when everything that is inauthentic within you begins to dissolve. It is the moment you perceive yourself with total clarity, stripped of all the filters, narratives, and deceptions. On July 2nd, the true signal is this: a part of you is being brought into the light. And for those who are genuinely present, you can't unsee it. This great revealing is not an outside force, it is an internal exposure. It is the spotlight being turned on the parts of your psyche you have expertly sidestepped for so long. It's not here to break you. It's here to show you what you've allowed yourself to become. This is deeply uncomfortable because most of us have constructed our identities on a foundation of masks, job titles, material things, accolades, or dependencies on others. But today, July 2nd, none of that is strong enough to conceal the truth anymore. The energetic frequency is too high, too precise. It slices right through the bullshit. It disintegrates what is fake, and if you aren't prepared, it will feel as if your entire world is collapsing. But what's truly happening is that only the false structures are falling. Because July 2nd is not about global turmoil. It is about an honest confrontation with the self. When your inner defenses crumble, you finally see the true architecture of your own consciousness. You begin to spot your own programming, the ways you use anger or the need to control or endless distraction to hide. You begin to hear your authentic voice. Not the one conditioned by society, but the one that has always existed underneath the static. This is the revelation. It is total exposure with no place to run. Many are still anticipating something theatrical. Strange lights in the atmosphere, a booming voice from above, some paranormal occurrence. But the ones who are in tune already understand that the real spectacle is happening inside. The main event is found in stillness. Because when all the external clamor dies down and you are left completely alone with your own mind, your own reality, your own presence, that is the exact moment the change ignites. Today, July 2nd, you are being challenged to stop the frantic chase, stop the performance, and stop hiding. Everything you believe yourself to be is being put to the test, not by anyone else, but by your own awareness. This great revealing is not a penalty. It is a powerful invitation, an invitation to reconnect with who you truly were before the world molded you into who you should be. But here lies the difficulty. The majority will turn away from this opportunity because it's far simpler to keep the mask on. It is far more comfortable to continue the act. But convenience isn't truth, and truth is rarely comfortable. On July 2nd, that comfort is being peeled back, and in its place is clarity, a raw, piercing clarity. The kind of clarity that forces you into stillness. The kind that compels you to reflect on a deeper level. The kind that makes pretending impossible anymore. So ask yourself right now, who am I really when there's no audience? Who am I when all the labels and roles are stripped away? Who am I underneath the pride, the fear, and the stories? The answer to that is the revelation. That answer is the revealing. That is what this day offers. Not demolition, but revelation. And that is infinitely more potent. You might observe specific things today. A heightened sensitivity, emotions surfacing for no clear reason. Old memories replaying, sudden epiphanies. This is not a coincidence. This is the exposure. This is your internal wiring recalibrating to the higher vibration of July 2nd. You are being brought into alignment with your essence. And any part of you that is out of tune with that essence will start to feel unstable. Do not resist it. Witness it. Allow it to come up. Let it show itself. And as it does, just breathe. Because your breath is the anchor that keeps you in your body while your mind lets go of what's no longer needed. If you run from this moment, it will simply return later with greater intensity. But if you sit with it today, if you can be still and permit yourself to feel it completely, that's when real transformation takes root. You do not need a sacred space to experience this. You don't need a guru. All you need is your own honesty and the bravery to face what is. Because today, July 2nd, the universal mirror is perfectly clean. The veil between worlds is exceptionally thin, and your true self is ready to be acknowledged. The only remaining question is, are you courageous enough to look? We have all been conditioned to fear judgment. But the energy of this day isn't here to judge you. It is here to reveal to you. And once something is revealed, you are presented with a choice to turn your back on it and continue sleepwalking, or to engage with it and start moving through life with your eyes fully open. The reality is, this day may not seem outwardly dramatic, it may not be loud, but its effects will ripple outward because the revelation doesn't conclude in a single instant. It begins in one instant and then carries on every single day thereafter. As long as you actively choose awareness over avoidance, July 2nd has uncovered something vital. What you do next is entirely up to you. Will you bury it again under a pile of excuses, or will you stay present with the discomfort and allow it to be your teacher? Remember, this exposure is a profound gift. It marks the start of genuine freedom. Because when you have nothing left to hide, there is nothing that can hold power over you. This is the promise of today, not an escape but an awakening, not fear but liberation, not an end but a powerful new beginning. So be still, inhale it deeply, and let July 2nd be the day you finally, truly saw yourself. Today is July 2nd, and the signal has arrived. But the pivotal question is not whether the signal showed up. The real question is, did you perceive it? Because the honest truth is most people did not, and most people will not. Not because the signal is overly complex, not because it is concealed, but because it is quiet. It doesn't clamor for your attention, it whispers, it moves with a gentle grace. It reveals itself only in profound stillness. But stillness is a practice that most people have forgotten. On July 2nd, the world didn't stop turning. People went through their morning routines, scrolled through the exact same feeds, and pursued the exact same distractions. And while their awareness was consumed by the outside, their inside was left untouched. The greatest tragedy of our time isn't that truth is hidden from us. The tragedy is that we are too busy being distracted to even look for it. We want signs, but we only accept the kinds that are loud and spectacular, like fireworks that light up the sky and shake the very ground. But the authentic signs, the real revelation, they appear silently in a single conscious breath, in a fleeting moment of pure awareness, in a sudden pocket of silence you did not create. Today, July 2nd was overflowing with these moments, yet most people let them pass by unnoticed. They couldn't hear the silence because their minds were too full of chatter. They couldn't feel the shift because they were too occupied with running away from themselves. You see, the primary reason most people miss these signs is because they consistently search in the wrong domains. They expect transformation to arrive from an external source. They await a voice from the heavens, an abrupt miracle, a formal declaration. But existence doesn't operate that way. Truth does not shout. It only becomes apparent when you yourself are prepared to see it. And being prepared doesn't require perfection. It requires being still, being honest, and being willing to just stop for one moment to observe. Today, July 2nd, offered everyone that opportunity, but many allowed it to fade because we are addicted to motion, to noise, to reaction. We cram every second with a task, a video, a problem to solve. We are terrified to just sit with ourselves. And that is the very reason the sign goes right past them. The great revealing is not a detonation, it is an exposure. It's the moment when all that is non-essential begins to shed. But if your entire life is built upon a foundation of the non-essential, then when the authentic is revealed, you panic, you resist, you flee, and you miss the entire point. On this day, July 2nd, an uncommon gateway has opened. A moment of pure truth, a thinning of the veil, a frequency shift that makes it easier, just for this short period, to recognize what is real. But your mind has to be tranquil to perceive it. And therein lies the challenge. Most of us have not trained our minds for tranquility. We have not practiced the art of silence. We have not practiced the art of presence. So when the signal does arrive, we don't even know what we are looking at. It is like trying to see your own reflection in the surface of a stormy sea. The image is there, but the surface is too turbulent. You require calm waters to see with clarity. You require a calm mind to recognize the moment. Today is not the apocalypse, but it is the end of the performance. On July 2nd, what is real is amplified and what is false becomes an unbearable weight. This is why so many feel a surge of anxiety today. This is why there is a deep unease rising in so many hearts. Not because there is something wrong, but because something inauthentic is finally dying, and what is real is knocking at the door. But here is the critical part: you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to pause. Because this sign is not going to wait until you feel ready. It is already here, and your only job is to slow yourself down enough to be able to receive it. If it slipped past you earlier, stop right now. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, what have I been running from? What am I terrified to finally see? These questions are the breadcrumbs that will lead you back to the sign. Because the great revelation is not something that removes you from this world. It is something that removes the layers you've outgrown. But if you choose to remain in distraction, if you stay in a state of reaction, then you forfeit this opportunity. You miss the clarity, you miss the shift. and then days and weeks will pass, and you will be left wondering why nothing feels right anymore. It's because the sign came, and you were not home. So do not hold out for another July 2nd. Do not expect a louder signal. Do not count on a second chance. The universe does not repeat its core messages in the way our minds demand. It speaks once with precision. The rest is your responsibility. Today is about awareness. It's about showing you what has been there all along, but was hidden behind your business. The sign came to wake you, not to entertain you. If you want to see it, you must become present. If you want to receive it, you must become still. Most people miss the signs not because they are incapable of seeing, but because they are slaves to distraction. Do not be one of them. Seize this day. July 2nd is not merely a date, it's an opening. And that opening is not permanent. You still have a small window of time. Sit with yourself. Listen without any agenda. Feel what is real. That is where you'll find the sign. That is where the truth resides. And when you finally see it, do not turn away. Today is July 2nd, and something of profound importance is occurring. Something the majority of people will completely miss. This isn't just business as usual. It's not just a new day on the calendar. It is a fundamental shift in energy, a shift in the very way life responds to your frequency. On the surface, things might appear identical, but underneath, everything has been recalibrated. The rules of the game have changed. One of the most critical changes starting today is how cause and effect operates. Previously, karma felt slow. You could do something destructive or thoughtless, and the consequence might not surface for years. You might not have even linked the action to the result, but that time lag is now gone. On July 2nd, the speed of karma has accelerated. It is now rapid, almost instantaneous. What you send out is what you get back, not years from now, but often within hours or even minutes. You think a thought, you feel an emotion, you take an action, and the mirror of life reflects it back to you immediately. This is not a punishment. This is precision. Life is not being cruel, it is being radically honest. July 2nd brings a piercing clarity, and with that clarity comes the immediate feedback loop of your own energy. If you move through your day seething with anger, drenched in fear, or clouded by judgment, you will watch it boomerang back to you. Not from some distant place, but from the people you interact with, from aches in your own body, from the loss of your own inner peace. And if you walk with love, with authenticity, with clarity, you will feel this shift just as powerfully. You will observe how opportunities align faster, how peace becomes your companion, how your day seems to unfold with grace. That is not just good fortune. It is not a random occurrence. That is karma responding with a newfound velocity. That is the new energetic signature of today, July 2nd. This is why self-awareness has shifted from a luxury to a necessity, because now every thought, every feeling, every word you speak carries an amplified weight. You are co-creating your reality with incredible speed, and if you are operating on autopilot, you will suffer the consequences of your own unconscious creations. If you are awake, you will reap the benefits. This is the new dividing line. Before July 2nd, you could get away with hiding from your true intentions. You could disguise your motivations. You could wear a fake smile. Now, the energy that fuels the smile is more important than the smile itself. People will sense your truth, and so will the universe. You may already be feeling this today. You have a conversation and someone reacts with unusual intensity. Why? Because your own energetic broadcast is now stronger. The frequency you are emitting is being received loud and clear. This is the new vibration, and it went live today, July 2nd. What is the implication for your daily life? It means that there is no more runway for pretending, no more space for self-delusion. You can no longer plant seeds of poison and hope to grow a garden of peace. The connection between cause and effect is simply too immediate now. You don't need a spiritual mentor to show you your own reflection. Life itself is holding up the mirror for you. If you feel resistance or tension today, ask yourself, what toxic energy am I carrying inside? What am I projecting out into the world? Because that is precisely what is returning to you. And if you feel a sense of calm or flow today, acknowledge it, nurture it. You generated it, and that is a clear sign of your alignment. July 2nd ushers in a new kind of responsibility, a much deeper one. Not just for your deeds, but for the state of your inner world. You can no longer afford the luxury of living unconsciously. You can no longer afford to be reckless with your energetic output. The mirror is just too clear now. Every thought sends out a ripple. Every emotion has a trajectory. You must learn to watch them with care. But do not be afraid of this. This change is a massive gift. It means your transformation can be faster. Your healing can be faster. Your growth can be faster if you are committed, if you are awake. This period will feel like a profound blessing. What once took decades of effort can now unfold in days. But if you insist on blaming, on reacting, on resisting, then yes, life will feel incredibly heavy because you are fighting your own reflection. Today, July 2nd, presents you with a chance to do a hard reset, to see what your energy is truly creating. No more hiding, no more procrastinating. Just look. The feedback is already right in front of you. If you desire a different result, change the input, purify your intentions. Be the guardian of reactions. Do not expect other people to change. They are busy dealing with their own immediate karma. Concentrate on your own. Today is not about trying to control things. It is about aligning with them. If something feels off, take a step back, reflect and recalibrate your inner state. Life is not out to get you. It is trying to guide you. This is the gift of this day. This is the wisdom of July 2nd. Karma is no longer a philosophical theory. It is your immediate reality. And it's giving you a real-time report card on who you are becoming. Use this power. Don't be scared of it. Don't run from it. Align with it. And every area of your life will begin to shift accordingly. Today is July 2nd, and karma is speaking more clearly than ever before. Are you truly listening? Today is July 2nd, and on this day, countless people are holding their breath, waiting for someone to rescue them. A guru, a guide, a charismatic leader, a revolutionary system, a utopian world. But the hard truth is, no one is on their way. No one is coming to save you from the prison of your own mind. The era of waiting is officially over. The era of seeking answers externally is finished. The solution has always been within. And on this specific day, the prevailing energy is compelling you to finally turn your gaze there. The only path forward from here is the path inward. July 2nd has made this profoundly clear. The clamor of the world will only get louder. Distractions will continue to multiply. The flood of information will increase. But truth will never be found in acquiring more. It will only be discovered in less noise, less chatter, less chasing. The only true salvation from this point on is your internal practice. You can call it meditation, self-inquiry, breathwork, or silence. The label is irrelevant. What is relevant is the practice itself, a daily, consistent, radically honest practice. This is no longer just a spiritual pastime. This is a means of survival. Not a physical survival, but a mental, emotional, and spiritual survival. If you are not cultivating inner stillness during these times, you are getting swept away slowly but surely. July 2nd did not arrive to terrorize you. It arrived to shake you, to wake you from the trance of this truth. The external world is crumbling on many levels. Old systems are proving to be fragile. People are on edge. Emotions are volatile. But the individuals who are anchored in themselves will remain unmoved. That kind of stability does not come from watching the news, from governments, or from self-proclaimed gurus. It comes from deep within. And you cannot purchase it. You cannot borrow it from someone else. You must build it yourself, foundation stone by foundation stone, breath by conscious breath. Look at yourself with unflinching honesty. Today, July 2nd, is a perfect mirror. It is showing you all the places where you are still reliant on the outside world to validate you, to make you feel safe, to tell you that you are worthy and whole. And the more you depend on the outside, the more you will suffer, because the outside world is inherently unstable. It always has been. Peace was never designed to be found externally. Peace is a choice you make internally, again and again and again. When the world around you gets chaotic, you must become quiet. When people around you are reactive, you must remain still. When the path ahead is uncertain, you must return to the anchor of this present moment. This is the inner way, and it is the only path that will lead to sanity moving forward. Not because some book said so, but because life itself is demonstrating this to you now, unequivocally on July 2nd. You are not being disciplined. You are being reminded that the true center of your universe must be your own awareness, not your career, not your phone, not your social status. Your awareness, the silent, watching presence within you, is your only real anchor, and the stronger your connection to that anchor, the less the storms of the external world can pull you off course. People will desperately ask, what action should I take today? Where should I move? What problem should I fix? But all of that is a secondary concern. The first and most critical step is to turn inward, to sit, to breathe, to observe, and then to do it again the next day, and the next, until it's no longer a chore, but your fundamental way of being. You will never find your salvation by overthinking. You will never find clarity by complaining. You will never find the answers you seek by running from yourself. July 2nd is showing you that you have to stop. Stop the frantic race. Stop the incessant talking. Stop reaching outside for a key that has always been in your own pocket. Even as the world becomes more frantic, you have the power to become more calm. That is your superpower. That is your sacred responsibility. But it does not happen by magic. It happens through discipline, through repetition, through the choice to return to stillness over and over, especially on the days you don't feel like it. You will have moments when it's excruciatingly hard. Days when your mind refuses to settle, when your emotions are screaming, when your body is full of restless energy. But those are the most crucial days to show up for your practice. Because peace is not tested when life is easy. It is forged when life is hard, and you still consciously choose to find your center. July 2nd is an invitation, a clear reminder, a distinct signal. The world will present you with countless paths, but only one leads to authentic freedom. The inner path, the path of honesty, of observation, of alignment. And this path isn't glamorous, it isn't loud, it is quiet, and for that reason, most will pass it by. But those who choose to walk it will discover something that money can't buy. A peace that cannot be disturbed. A clarity that cannot be confused. A strength that can never be taken away from you. And so today, don't ask who is coming to rescue you. Ask yourself how profoundly you are willing to rescue yourself from your own distractions, from your own illusions, from your own fears. Everything you could ever need is already inside you. But you must become quiet enough to be able to access it. You must become still enough to be able to hear it. And July 2nd is the absolute perfect day to start. Because today the energy itself supports this shift. The volume of the world is being turned up, but so is the opportunity to rise above it from within. So sit, breathe, practice. Let this day mark the beginning of your real journey. Not the path of reaction, but the path of mastery. Not the path of escape, but the path of presence. No one is coming because no one has to. You are already here. Today is July 2nd. And this day isn't simply another square on your calendar. It is a clear reminder, a gentle yet firm signal that time is starting to run short. For years, so many of us have heard the gentle whisper, "Wake up," but we brushed it aside. We were too consumed, too distracted, too scared to truly look at ourselves. But now that message is becoming impossible to ignore. The door of opportunity is still ajar, but it is no longer wide open. It is a narrow gap, and it is beginning to close. On July 2nd, the universe is extending one final moment of pristine clarity, a chance to make a decisive shift, an opportunity to realign with your true path. But this is not an invitation you can put on hold. This is not a task you can add to tomorrow's to-do list, because the energetic field has already transformed. The opportunity is right here, right now. And every moment you hesitate makes it more difficult to respond. Many of us operate under the illusion that we have an infinite amount of time, that we can persist in our old habits, our unconscious patterns, our sleepwalking, and just make the change at some later date. But July 6 has unveiled an uncomfortable reality. That later may be an illusion, and the only time to act is this moment. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, today, when you choose to ignore these internal signals, you start to feel a deep heaviness. You begin to feel anxious for no discernible reason. You feel agitated, disoriented, unplugged. This isn't random. This is your entire being screaming at you that you are living out of alignment with your own truth. And on a day like July 2nd, that dissonance becomes glaringly obvious because the energy is so potent. It is trying to pull you towards your truth. But if you fight against that pull, it drags you into pain. The reason the door is closing isn't based on fear. It is based on the unchangeable law that truth is always in motion. It never stagnates. It is a river flowing forward. If you don't choose to step into that river now, you will have to wait for the next major cycle to come around. And that next cycle may not be so gentle. Because the longer you ignore the calling of your soul, the more forceful the call must become. And sometimes that force shows up as a crisis, a breakdown, or personal chaos, all designed simply to capture your attention. But July 2nd is not about forcing a crisis. It is about presenting an opportunity. It is a day drenched in light. But only if you have the courage to face your own shadows. Only if you are brave enough to look at what's truly real inside of you. Not the persona you show to others, not the curated life you post online, not the version of you that you've rehearsed, but who you actually are when there is nobody left to perform for. If you feel a powerful resistance today, that is the sign. If you feel emotionally raw, deeply uncomfortable, or unusually sensitive, that is the signal. Your inner system is demanding a software update, and you can either listen and install it or ignore the prompt. But the decision you make today has immediate energetic consequences. Seemingly small choices create monumental shifts. One step in the wrong direction eventually becomes an ingrained habit. One step in the right direction becomes a path. July 2nd is offering you a path, a quiet, clear, and honest one. It doesn't promise you comfort. It promises you growth. It promises you depth, but you are the one who has to walk it. No one can do the walking for you. This isn't about becoming a perfect person. It is not about solving every problem overnight. It is about finally showing up for yourself. It is about pausing, reflecting, and declaring to yourself, I have been living in a dream, but right now I choose to wake up. That single moment of decision is the key to the door. That flicker of awareness is the opening itself. You still have a little time, but not much. The longer you put it off, the more powerfully the world will pull you back into its orbit of distraction, reaction, and unconsciousness. and living unconsciously is a perilous state to be in right now, because this new energy is sharp. It does not support avoidance, it does not reward complacency, it magnifies who you actually are, not who you are pretending to be. So be honest with yourself. Are you actually listening? Are you truly present? Or are you still manufacturing excuses? On July 2nd, there is no more time left for excuses. There is no more room for pretending you didn't hear the call. The call is here, loud and clear. It is not an external sound. It is originating from within you, from your body, from your breath, from your deep awareness. And they are all asking the same single question: are you ready? There will be people who scoff at this, who insist nothing is happening, who label it as superstition, theatrics, or delusion. Let them talk. Let them remain asleep. But you, if you are still with me, something deep inside you already recognizes the truth of this. You've felt the energetic change. You've sensed the urgency. You've heard that quiet voice in your heart pleading, please do not wait for life to get any louder. Because it will. And when it does, it might not be so gentle. Because when you ignore the soft tap on the shoulder, life comes back with a firmer one. And if that doesn't work, it will kick the door in. Not to punish you, but to wake you up. But you don't have to wait for that extreme. You do not need pain to be your catalyst for growth. You can choose presence instead. You can choose reflection. You can choose silence. That is the offer on the table from July 2nd. A peaceful transformation if you are willing to claim it. So pause right now. Ask yourself, what am I still clinging to that I know I must release? What am I still actively avoiding that I know I must finally face? What truth have I buried so deep that it is now demanding to be seen? These are not comfortable questions, but they are essential. Because once this specific energetic door closes, it becomes much harder to find it again. Not impossible, but much harder. And you deserve a life of ease. You deserve alignment. You deserve clarity. But you must take action now. July 2nd is today, and today is the day to come home to yourself. The window is open, but not for long. Step through it. Not with fear, but with presence. Not with panic, but with purpose. Because the truth is, your time is now.